On November 13th, 2021 at 9 a.m., 4 geologists were dispatched to conduct a survey of the forest stock by crossing the Ailao Mountain in China. Their plan was to descend and return on the afternoon of November 14th. The geologists were
Zhang Jinbang, aged 25, Yang Min, aged 27, Zhang Yu, aged 32, and Lu Yu, aged 29.
All of their jackets were incredibly cheap, estimated to be around just 40 cents. Zhang carried a gray-blue backpack with a compass, tablet, and other supplies, while Zhang Yu carried a large camouflage bag with food and work tools. They also had RTK equipment, a compass, 3 machetes, disposable raincoats, a big power bank, mineral water bottles, gasoline for making a fire, and paint for marking their path. Their food and water supply was sufficient for a day and a half. On November 14th, the team failed to return as planned, prompting the local government to establish a rescue center on November 15th and initiate a search and rescue operation. The Ailao Mountain, where the 4 geologists had entered the core uninhabited area, has an average altitude of over 2,500 meters. The search effort involved 8,000 people, including public volunteers, 50 drones, and 10 helicopters. The search continued non-stop from November 15th to November 17th, but it had to be called off due to heavy rain and fog, which significantly reduced visibility. However, before calling off the search, the rescuers found some clues, such as footprints of 4 individuals, paint marks on the ground, discarded machetes, evidence of trees having been cut down, scorch marks on the ground, and a small shack covered with a disposable raincoat containing half-eaten food. Although the geologists were not found, evidence of their presence in the area was discovered. The search continued on November 20th, but the team involved only 24 people. Eventually, on November 21st, a drone with thermal imaging flew over the area and detected 3 individuals lying on the ground. Subsequently, on November 22nd, the search and rescue team headed to the spot photographed by the drone, situated below a steep ridge, and located all 4 bodies, accompanied by their 2 backpacks, lying next to them. All 4 were fit men with wilderness skills and had preserved half of their food. They had each carried an RTK device. If unaware, an RTK stands for real-time kinematic. It is a technique used in global navigation satellite systems to improve the accuracy of position measurements. With RTK, centimeter-level accuracy can be achieved. They also had satellite phones, which were left in their car. Regardless, it is noteworthy that the devices were never switched on. Furthermore, one of the team members was inexplicably naked, and all 4 had big smiles on their faces. All of their clothing, though cheap, was found completely intact without any signs of an animal attack, ruling out that possibility. Some theories suggest that a lightning strike may have been responsible for their deaths, as they were all facing the same direction when they fell. But this is questionable due to the lack of scorch marks on their clothing and vegetation. Additionally, most people who are struck by lightning survive, which makes this theory less likely. Furthermore, the fact that one team member was found naked and all 4 had smiles on their faces adds to the mystery of their deaths. Chinese officials released a statement on December 15th, 2021, regarding the cause of death of the 4 geologists. According to their autopsy report, the cause of death was hypothermia, mixed with cardiogenic shock. The weather on November 13th and 14th was light to moderate rain, with temperatures ranging from 11 degrees Celsius to 9 degrees Celsius. When someone dies of hypothermia, their body temperature drops to a dangerously low level, which can lead to a loss of consciousness and eventually death. As the body becomes colder, the muscles start to relax, and this can cause the facial muscles to relax as well, leading to a smile-like appearance. This is commonly referred to as terminal burrowing behavior, and is a natural response to the body's attempt to warm itself. The muscles in the extremities may also relax, leading to the person removing their clothing as they feel they are overheating, even though they are actually dangerously cold. This phenomenon is known as paradoxical undressing. So the smiling and nakedness that can be observed in hypothermia victims are both natural responses to the body's attempt to survive in extremely cold conditions. However, some people are not convinced by this explanation, as they believe there are inconsistencies with hypothermia. As a result, a new theory suggests the team might have been unintentionally poisoned. Despite the official explanation, many questions remain unanswered, and the case remains open. To begin with, there are some doubts about the explanation of hypothermia as the cause of death. Although the geologists' equipment was not top of the line, it was still functional, and their RTK devices had not malfunctioned. This raises the question of why didn't they use their devices to signal for help or bring their phones, as they were clearly in danger. Also, their raincoats were waterproof, and the rainfall on November 13th to November 14th, when they are presumed to have died, was only light. Additionally, none of the food found with them had been consumed, and as experienced survivalists, they could have hunted for their own food if necessary. While the naked team member could be explained by hypothermia, it is unclear why the others were still wearing clothes. Furthermore, they had brought gasoline to start fires, but there were no signs of any fires. It seems they did nothing to prevent hypothermia. There are also some other details that raise questions. For example, the police remained at the location where the bodies were found from November 22nd until December 5th, and they did not remove the bodies until November 23rd. Additionally, they did not release an autopsy report, only stating the cause of death. All of these factors have led some people to believe that the authorities are not being entirely truthful about what happened to the geologists. As mentioned earlier, there is an alternative theory that suggests the team may have been poisoned, but not intentionally. Poisoning incidents are not uncommon in rural areas of Yunnan, where locals often accidentally consume poisonous mushrooms. However, supporters of the poisoning theory do not believe that mushrooms were responsible for the geologists' deaths. This is because the geologists were experienced and knowledgeable about safe mushrooms, and they had food with them already. Furthermore, it is not likely that a mushroom poisoning incident would warrant a cover-up, as some have alleged. Rather, it is believed that this may be a repeat of a previous incident in the same area that occurred between 1993 and 2003, where 36 people died from an unknown illness. In July 1993, a tragic incident occurred in Shiyaku village located near the same mountain. A villager named Fukai found his wife lying on the floor when he entered their home to retrieve tools needed for work. He rushed to her aid, but soon after, he fell to the ground as well and began twitching until losing consciousness. Neither of them had any history of disease, and their deaths remained inexplicable. On the same day as their funeral, an entire family in the same village died under similar circumstances, causing panic, rumors, speculation, and superstitions among the villagers. The officials in Yunnan province took notice of the incident and initiated a medical investigation, sending the health director to Shiyaku village. The investigators initially suspected myocarditis, but dismissed the theory because it would not be possible to instantaneously kill 4 people without warning. Unfortunately, the medical investigation yielded no results, and the lack of progress forced the investigators to leave the village. Several days after the deaths of the family and villagers in Shiyaku village, another series of deaths occurred. Li Fukai, a resident of the village, died suddenly in his sleep, followed by the sudden death of his brother's wife, Fushu, on the same day. Soon after, Li Changmei, Li Fuchai's father, also passed away under the same circumstances. Over the next 2 months, 5 more deaths occurred in the village with no apparent cause. The situation eventually caught the attention of the authorities in Yunnan province, who then reported it to the PRC. Medical officials were sent to investigate as the death toll had risen to 14. Their initial suspicion was that Kishan disease was responsible for the deaths. The officials held a meeting with the villagers and advised them to take selenium as a preventive measure and treatment for Kishan. the disease that they believed to be the cause of the sudden deaths. However, this did not work as people continued to die without any apparent cause, and subsequent examinations showed that they were not selenium deficient. Autopsies were conducted on the latest victims, leading investigators to suspect that the Coxsackie virus may be responsible. They also discovered that most deaths occurred during the rainy season of July and August, when many villagers drank collected rainwater contaminated with animal excrement. The officials then began to treat the water using clean spring water, disinfecting it during summer, and providing it to the villagers. They also arranged for regular medical checkups and had doctors stationed in the village to monitor for any symptoms and treat them promptly. In 2002, 24 people fell ill from June to August. But unlike previous incidents, medical personnel were stationed in the village, resulting in only 8 deaths. From 1993 to 2003, 36 people in the village had died from an unknown illness. As a last resort, health officials in 2003 decided to evacuate the entire village from their homes and move them further away from the mountain and water source. Rather than identifying and stopping the cause of the illness, officials simply relocated those in danger, which effectively solved the problem and prevented further deaths. However, the illness and its cause remain unknown to this day. Moving forward to November 13th, 2021, the 4 geologists ventured into the vicinity of the water source linked to the 36 unexplained deaths, which was situated close to a nearby village. The hypothesis suggests that the geologists who drank bottled spring water as their water source fell ill with the same unidentified illness that affected the residents 28 years ago, and that the hypothermia claim was untrue. Could it be that officials are being truthful about the geologists contracting hypothermia? Or could they be lying to prevent panic over the return of the unknown illness, or to protect themselves from potential accusations of neglect related to the water treatment? Alternatively, is there another explanation for the geologist's illness? What do you think? Until next time, keep fearing the living.